Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Almost 30 podcast. It's Lindsey Simsick. I'm super happy, grateful, jazzed you're here. This is a solo episode. Every single month, Krista and I each do a solo episode. And I feel like I haven't had one in a hot minute, at least a current one. Sometimes we record in advance. So I'm really excited to do a little AMA and ask me anything with you. I've gotten a ton of questions on Instagram lately, whether it's about relationships, about motherhood, about babies, about postpartum, and more. And I wanted to cover a bunch here that were super juicy and I think will be valuable to so many of you out there. So thank you in advance, or thank you after the fact for submitting those questions, because I'm going to be answering them today. If you're new to Almost 30, welcome. This is a pod that we created 8 years ago now. As I take like a gulp, I'm like, 8 years. How old am I? I still think I'm 28, to be honest. But here we are. We were going through our Saturn return, just a really crunchy time in our late 20s. Anyone out there feeling that right now? It's a big wow. It will flip your life upside down, but it is meant to bring you more into alignment. Krista and I actually just wrote a book on this, which will be coming out next year. We're so excited. But if you are going through this, you are not alone. Every single person on this planet goes through their Saturn return, but whether you realize it or not is kind of the key. So welcome. We're here to support you. We're here to have conversations that hopefully are insightful, that get you curious, that get you really excited to become more of who you are. So I'm thankful for all of you. You've been with us for quite a while. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. You can learn more about Almost 30 at almost30.com. And that's my spiel in the beginning. All right, let's jump into this AMA. Okay, the first question I got was in response to a recent trip I took with my family, my husband, my son, and a handful of our extended family to Jamaica. This was our first trip with baby. And the question I got many questions about this, but people wanted travel tips with baby. So what I'm going to say might be really helpful to your soul, but might not be helpful to those of you that are a little OCD and want the list and everything like that. I could totally DM you the lists of things. But what I want to talk about is the intense anxiety I had approaching this trip. I was so anxious because this is the first time I'm flying with a baby, the first time I'm bringing him somewhere internationally. So many scenarios and what ifs just cross your mind and get you so freaking hyped in the wrong direction for a trip like this. So what I had to do about a week or two before we went on the trip was promise myself that I was going to let go of the what ifs and these stories that I had around this trip. Because what was happening was that these stories and these anticipatory thoughts about what might be or what might happen were stealing my joy. I was just not fun to be around. Every time I would talk to my husband, I was like, but what if this happens? And what should we get this? And should I Amazon this? And should I ask someone about this? And should I prep Mav in this way? Should I get him on a certain schedule? And he would just look at me like, are you good? Like, are you okay? And I realized that my brain loves to do that. So we know that about the brain. The brain will always try to keep you safe, always try to protect you, always try to keep you comfortable. And as I'm entering this new experience, this unknown, the brain's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me convince you not to go on this trip. Let me convince you to tape yourself in a bubble on this trip. So I really had to very consciously let them go. Every time they came in, I would literally shake them out. I would like move my body. I would deep breath and exhale them out because I really wanted to be excited about this first. I didn't want to look back and be like, man, I could have had a lot more fun on this trip. So that was the first thing that was really, really important. Consciously make an effort to let go of the anxieties, of the thoughts about what if, what could happen. I will say, as just a little side note, yes, some of those thoughts about what if are instinct as a mother, as a father. And so you can listen to those, but you can't allow them to control your experience. So you can think about, well, we're going to be taking a trip from the airport to the hotel. Is the baby going to be safe in the car seat that we have to get there? Things like that. Okay, let's make a checklist. Do we have the right car seat? And just make it very checklisty. We don't have to overthink it and think about too much about the what ifs of the worst case scenario. We can prepare as best we can, and then we kind of let it go, give it up to God. You feel me? Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing was I chilled on the schedule. Mav is on somewhat of a schedule. That's my son. He's, when this episode comes out, he will be 9 months. And at the time of this trip, he was 8 months. He's on somewhat of a schedule, but not like a military schedule. I'm just not that type of person. I really believe that he is going to give me the proper cues in terms of when he's hungry, when he's tired, etc. I think the cornerstones of our schedule are bedtime. Actually, that's it. Bedtime is the cornerstone. And then things kind of shift a little bit an hour forward or backward around naps, feeding time, etc. So what I will say is that it's really important on vacation, at least for me, to chill on the schedule. Because guess what? There's going to be adventures on vacation that you want to take part in. Maybe they only have a 7 p.m. dinner reservation. How is that going to affect the baby? Things like that you can't really control so much. And so just allowing the schedule to be what it is and finding the anchors that are important to you and the baby that you know are important. So for me, that was bedtime. So he would go to bed between 7:30 and 8 every single night. And while I didn't know if he was going to get up during the night or what time he would grab his naps, bedtime remained pretty consistent, and that was enough for me. I know there are a lot of you out there that have kids and are like schedule queens, and I really respect that. And when we are in a new environment, a new situation, maybe new people around, maybe we're eating different foods, etc., we have to leave room for flexibility, and we have to leave room for the fact that our child might be a little different in this environment, on this trip, with these people, etc. So I think for me, it was really important to chill on the schedule, and it actually ended up being amazing. I felt like he was relaxed. I could pick up on his cues because I was relaxed and not so hard on the schedule and anxious about the schedule. It just felt like flow, which I didn't think could happen with a baby, but it can. It absolutely can. So letting go of those expectations and anxieties, and chilling on the schedule. 3, I'm going to get specific here, and I'm going to rattle them off real quick. For the plane, I will say have snacks, have the bottle, whatever they need in terms of nourishment, have some toys to entertain them. And if you are someone like me who does not like to give any screen time, if they're looking at the screen on the back of the seat in front of you, trust me, it will entertain them at times. They could touch it. They could scroll around a little bit. I let him do it. And it was fine. It gave me like 20 minutes of him being entertained. I did not give him my phone or an iPad. No shade. He's too young. He's 8, 9 months. Not going to do that. But the screen on the back of the chair was great. So snacks, nourishment, whatever you're giving them to make sure their bellies are good. Make sure that you have, some form of toys, entertainment. And 3, they might have a blowout on the plane. So just have like a little baggie of a change of clothes, a diaper, wipes, diaper cream, whatever you need in the changing situation. Just handy so you can bring it in the bathroom with you and don't have to lug your whole bag. That was really, really clutch. Next is for sleep. Once you're at your destination, the slumber pod. This is a pricier item. I think it's a few $100, maybe 200 and something. But the slumber pod blacks out the crib. So if you have a crib that you're bringing, a pack and play, or you're renting a crib at the hotel, whatever, the slumber pod basically is like a little pod that stretches over the crib. It will black out even during the daytime. It is so key, so key. 3rd is sound machine for sleep, or 2nd is sound machine for sleep. So you can continue on with your night, day, whether you're in the room or out of the room. It'll be dark, and the sound machine will make sure to block out any just like extra sound. Maybe you're talking, maybe you're on the phone, maybe you're clanking around. So key. So that's my quick travel tips for baby. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to do a more in-depth breakdown on Instagram, so stay tuned for that. Okay, it's that time of year. Beach, trips, pool. It's summer, baby. And I don't know about you, but I love to have glowing skin. Like I just love to have my like bare skin in the sun, glowing, looking great. And the way I make sure that my skin is healthy, glowing, and ready for every summer moment is taking Symbiotic as vitamin C. So not only does this really boost my immunity, but it enhances the skin. So if you haven't heard about Symbiotica, y'all, I'm about to make your life a lot better. Symbiotica is the fastest growing supplement brand for a good reason. Its clean, innovative formulas are so incredible. They truly work. Most of them have a liposomal delivery, which is like this liquid form. All of them taste amazing. There's different flavors. And your body just absorbs this form beautifully. There's no seed oils in their products, preservatives, or toxins. I trust them wholeheartedly. Charvine, one of the founders, has been on the podcast many times. Check out those episodes. They're some of the most popular that we've ever had. So check out that vitamin C supplement. It's the best I've ever taken. I really love that it has biotin, which is one of nature's most beautifying vitamins. I also take their vitamin D3, K2. It's really important. Most people are deficient in vitamin D, so I take that every single day. And then I also take the magnesium L-threonate, which is amazing for the brain. This actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it's an incredible form of magnesium that will really help mood, cognitive function, and more. So please check out Symbiotica.com, and guess what? You're going to save up to 20% off site-wide with our code ALMOST30. Just go to Symbiotica.com/almost30 and use the code ALMOST30 for 20% off site-wide. So major. That's a major discount. Symbiotica, CYMBIOTIKA.com/almost30. Use the code ALMOST30. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Oh man, I just got off the phone earlier with my therapist. Man, I have been going to her for nearly 4 years, which is so banana town. I just have to say that like my life changed when I started going to therapy, and I was someone who was like, I'm going to start therapy, but I don't know if it's for me, and I don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if it's the hype is real. The hype is freaking real. If you are someone that is thinking about starting therapy, oh my gosh, please give yourself the gift of this. It is the best investment I continue to make. And what's awesome is BetterHelp makes it so simple, because oftentimes people are like, I don't have time. It's too much, yada, yada. But listen, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional cost. Like literally, it's no big deal. If you're like, this one's not a fit, you just switch. Again, I have seen my relationships improve. I have seen my career improve. I have just seen my relationship with myself improve, which affects my health and so much more. You will not regret it. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/almost30 today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/almost30. Let's go on to question 2. Let's keep it rolling. Okay. I was asked if I have any advice on healing people-pleasing tendencies. Okay. So from a former people pleaser, and I still have my moments, I just have a lot of just love and compassion for anyone that is wanting to heal this part of themselves. And I think what was the most important part of my healing was getting to know the younger me who had to people please in order to be loved, to be accepted. In some cases, for other people, it might be to survive. It might be a feeling of, if I don't people please, then I feel like I will be abandoned. Or truly as a child, when you don't feel love, it feels like it taps on that part of you that I don't know if I can live, because we can't live without love when we're young. On a energetic and existential level, it's really true. So it was really important for me to get to know her. Who did she have to please? Why did she have to please? What would she do to please? And it was really helpful for me to do EMDR and therapy to understand her and to bring myself back to those moments where people pleasing was a way for me to, just feel validated, feel that love, feel safe. I think safety was a big one. To feel accepted, to feel seen. So after I got to know her, then I could step in as adult Lindsey and say, like, I'm here now. There is no need to please other people and abandon who you really are, what you believe, how you feel in order to please another person. Because what adult Lindsey knows is that for me to be who I am in this moment and not self-abandon is actually the best decision for everyone, for myself and for the people that I am potentially wanting to please. And so it took a lot of practice because my patterns were so deeply ingrained and it was awkward. And I had a fear of people not wanting to be friends with me, not understanding, freaking out, it changing our relationship. And by the way, like any of those things could happen. That is a real fear and they could absolutely happen. But I think what I realized as an adult is that if I'm unable to be who I am and really honor what I believe, what my desires are and what my preferences are, if I'm able to do that and other people don't accept that or feel uncomfortable or act out or are triggered, one, it's not my problem. It's not mine to hold or carry. And two, perhaps they weren't meant to be in my life anymore. One of the things I realized in this particular type of healing work was that some people were in relationship with an expired version of me. So I really felt like I had matured beyond this like deep people pleaser. However, I was still in relationship with people who knew me as that, or our relationship had that quality of me people pleasing them or whatever they needed. And so when I started to notice this and become aware of this, either the relationship had like a beautiful system update and we were like, hey, let's kind of recalibrate because we're adults now, we're this age now, and we want to really see and meet each other as who we really are. Or two, the relationship dissolved. And it can be heartbreaking, but we really have to trust that as we become more of who we are, we honor ourselves, that our relationships especially will fall in and out of alignment. And we got to trust how that works out. We can't always control it, but we have to trust that it's for the very best. So I think that is the most important piece, getting to know that part of you that had to, especially when they were younger, most likely it was in your like family, most likely it was in your family system. So that's number one. Number two is just in your day-to-day, I want you to take note in small moments, especially when you people please. Because it's so sneaky. It could be so subtle. You could walk into a room and say you're going to a work happy hour and you're starving, you haven't had anything to eat, like you want to have something to eat before you drink, et cetera, whatever. And you walk in to, say, like a private room at a bar or something, and all your coworkers are there, and they don't have any food out and they're just drinking, but there is like a menu that you could order from, and you're starving. Someone says like, oh, like, I'm not going to order anything. I'm probably going to eat later. Like, no worries. And then you're like, fuck, can I have that menu? Like, I want to order, but no one else is ordering. Like, is my boss going to get like pissed that I'm going to order and put it on the tab? Whatever, the mind runs. And you say, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Right? Like you pass on the opportunity to honor how you're really feeling. You want to eat before you drink, et cetera. And it's in those little moments that we abandon how we feel because we don't want to be seen as someone who is, high maintenance, or someone who, I don't even know, wants more than anyone else in the room, whatever it is. But we want to be mindful because it's those little moments that compound. It's those little moments that feed into the bigger moments. It's those little moments that actually say to ourselves subconsciously or even psychically, it's like, I don't matter. Other people's preferences matter more than my own. It also says that like, I'm not safe to be myself, or I'm not comfortable to be myself. And so that programming in the back is running all the time because all of these little moments have compounded. So we just want to be mindful of those little people-pleasing moments. So be sure to catch yourself. You can always take a moment. If you catch yourself doing it, just take a moment, pause, breathe. And if you're with someone else, you can even say, you know what? Actually, my desire in this moment is this. Or, you know what? The more I kind of feel into it, yeah, I would love something to eat right now. Thank you so much. I'm going to take you up on that, right? We can take a moment. We could pause. We don't have to over-explain. We just have to reconnect. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. 3, this third question, post-baby workout, eating, self-care. What are you doing? I appreciate the compliments in the DMs. I am 9 months postpartum, first baby. Let me remind you. I do believe I have decent genetics. If I look back to my mom, after she had me, I was her first baby. The back to pre-baby body was quite quick. But what I realized and what I found was a relief was that I wasn't thinking about going back to my pre-baby body. And that was because I had a conversation with my therapist. And that conversation I've talked about on the show a little bit, but basically she was like, your body will never be the same. So if you're worried that you won't get back to the body you had, you're right. You're not going to go back to the body you had, because after you give birth to a child, your body is changed forever. And she's like, you might aesthetically return to pre-baby body, sure, but like your body, who you are, is changed forever. And that just really, really hit me, because I think it woke me up to this like weird desire I had to like go back to pre-baby body. And I say weird because I'm like, why? What is this weird obsession? And I kind of just broke it down for myself in terms of like what I was seeing on social media, what it meant to still have that pre-baby body to me. Who was I trying to impress? Why was I trying to validate myself in that way? And what I really connected with was just this opportunity to step into this new season of my life. And part of what that really entailed was embracing my new body. And so postpartum is a wild ride, hormonally, physically, emotionally, mentally. It's wild, and it's different for everyone. It is absolutely different for everyone. But I'll just share what was very important for me, and what I believe has helped me to find like just a peace in my body, if that makes sense. One, it's been really important to take it slow in the early days of postpartum, especially the first 2 months. Really, really slow. I did follow loosely the first 40 days. So, in terms of nourishment, I was eating only warm foods, lots of broths and slow cooked meats and cooked vegetables and things like that. Warm foods, no smoothies, no cold yogurts or ice water or anything like that. Warm foods, generally warm beverages or room temperature. But those first 2 months, so slow. I was home most of the time. I would take very slow walks outside, but I kept it really, really simple. I kept it really close to my baby, and I just protected the bubble. And I think that really helped with my recovery physically and my stress levels. Um, and it just allowed a peace to settle in after what was just a really beautiful but intense experience, giving birth to a child. So that was really important. I know it's tempting to get back to your workouts after 6 weeks and you get the green light for your doctor, but listen to your body. Listen to your body and slowly, gradually ramp up to maybe your goal of how much activity you're doing. Um, my doctor reminded me that during pregnancy, you're kind of deconditioned. I was working out during pregnancy, but I was deconditioned. And so you kind of have to condition yourself back. And that takes time and that's gradual. It can't be overnight. Another thing I did postpartum was I breastfed. And I know that is not always possible for everyone. Everyone has their own unique breastfeeding journey and their own preferences. Some people choose not to breastfeed. So just honoring everyone's experience and preferences. But for me, I do believe and I do know that breastfeeding can help you to lose weight initially. And so if that's something that you desire, which I didn't consciously desire, but it happened where breastfeeding burns tons of calories. The energy that it takes to make milk for a baby every single day is quite wild. So I did notice that did help me to shed some weight. But I also now know, as well as 8 months, 9 months postpartum, and I'm still breastfeeding, is that the body also will hold on to a little weight, which I'm totally happy and fine with, because it needs it to be able to produce milk for the baby. I'm eating more. I'm I'm eating quite healthy, but I'm eating quite a lot to be able to produce milk. So the body's going to hold on to some weight, and I'm totally fine with that. For me, it is worth it to be able to breastfeed. Lastly, it's the emotional piece in postpartum. I think the body always responds to your mental emotional state. And so if you are struggling in postpartum mentally or emotionally, it could be really hard for the body to find an equilibrium, find a peace. And so I highly recommend, seeking out support, whether it's in therapy, bringing this to conversation with other moms. I found my mom friends, new mom friends, old mom friends have been so helpful in just being a listening ear. And sometimes that's all we need in a time when we're so isolated. Sometimes we just need a listening ear and someone to be like, yeah, I went through that. That was really intense, really hard, but it passes. So if you are someone who feels just, there's a heaviness sometimes in postpartum. There's an incredible levity and just newness and joy with your new child, but there can be a heaviness. And so please prioritize your mental and emotional health. And I know the body does a beautiful job of following, tending to those parts. In terms of exercise, I am back to the gym 3 days a week. That's all I have time for. Prior to getting pregnant, I was in the gym 5 to 6 days a week or classes, but now I'm doing gym 3 days a week. I'll do the Stairmaster. I will do strength training. Sometimes I'll do a Pilates class, try to mix it up. And I walk a lot. So I walk with Mav all the time. I try to get my 10,000 steps in every day, if not like 3 days a week. And that's been really helpful. My body has loved it. I haven't gone ham. I haven't gone to like the HIIT workouts every day to try to sweat it out, all the things. Do I wish I could work out more? Yeah, sure, but I don't have time. So that's what I can get in, and that's what I'm happy with. And last thing I'll say is just, I think we don't have to love where we're at with our body at this point. I'm really proud of my body, not proud of the way it looks necessarily, although I'm at a place where I'm happy. But what I mean is I'm just proud of what it has done and what it continues to do for me and my child. It's a miraculous thing. And I think the more that we can kind of pull up and out of the loop thoughts we have, the negative thoughts we have about our bodies, and understand the absolute just miracle it is, whether it's creating a life, giving birth to a life, whether it's healing from an illness or an accident, just how incredibly resilient and beautiful our bodies are, helps me to see it in a new way and not focus so much on the aesthetics. So those in postpartum, you're doing amazing, amazing, amazing. Seek out support. It's so important. Okay, I know. Keeping up with your travel plans and a wellness routine, it's hard. It's harder than it looks. But until I found Aloe Moves, I was saying that, but now I'm like, nah, I can do it wherever I go. This is the health and wellness app that honestly has helped me keep up with my wellness routine wherever I am and no matter what stage in life or season in life I'm in. You saw me share about it way back when I was pregnant. I was doing Aloe Moves almost every day. I didn't always have the strength to like go out and go to a class or go to the gym. So doing it right in my home was so clutch. I am obsessed with all of their workouts, y'all. You will like never get bored. It's kind of crazy. So from beginner to advanced, Ella Moves has the flow or class that will fit your schedule. Their classes range from 5 minutes to an hour. So if I'm on the move, like at home, and I can only take like freaking 15 minutes for myself, they have a workout for that. It seriously has everything: yoga, Pilates, strength workouts, meditation, sound bath, nutrition tips, self-care tutorials, and more. It's crazy. So you'll love this award-winning app. I honestly cannot say enough about it. I recommend it to everyone. One of my favorite classes recently was a sculpt class, and it was just like we did light weights. It was so fun. It was like 15 minutes. It was fast paced, but like so easy to follow. I loved the instructor. I loved the music, and they're always in gorgeous environments. Makes it easy on the eyes. So stay on top of your wellness routine no matter where you go. Sign up for Aloe Moves today. Join aloemoves.com and use code ALMOSTVIP for an exclusive 30-day free trial. Just do it. Just do it. Plus, you can enjoy 20% off an annual membership. That's aloemoves.com. Code is ALMOSTVIP for a 30-day free trial and 20% off an annual membership. aloemoves.com. Code is ALMOSTVIP. I get a lot of questions about supplementation during pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and I always recommend Ritual. Their prenatal is awesome. I'll tell you about that in a moment, but I don't know if you know this, 95% of pregnant women are not getting their recommended daily intake of key omega-3s. The prenatal from Ritual contains 350 milligrams of eco-friendly vegan omega-3 DHA in every serving. This is sourced from algal oil instead of fish. It is so freaking important. The first 28 days of pregnancy are important in your baby's neural development. There's really no such thing as too soon to start. So I have been recommending people, which I did and my doctor recommended, is taking a prenatal well before you potentially get pregnant. And it's been awesome. It also has choline and methylated folate, the kind of folate that you really do need. This supports the baby's neural tube development. I love it because once I was pregnant and I was taking these prenatals, I was nauseous. The capsules feature a delayed release designed to help make it really gentle on your stomach. And it has a citrus essence to make your multis actually enjoyable, which was really, really nice. All lots are third-party tested for allergens and microbes and heavy metals, and Ritual works with world-class certification bodies to validate their products again. So I trust them. This is no joke. So you got to make sure you trust your supplement brands, and I highly recommend Ritual. Go to ritual.com/almost30. Yeah, baby. Why settle for a vitamin when you're not 100% sure about it? You know what I mean? Ritual was literally built on trust, so you know it's the real deal. Get 25% off your first month for a limited time at ritual.com/almost30. Start Ritual or add Essential for Women's Prenatal to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/almost30 for 25% off. Okay. Next question. Intrusive thoughts during postpartum. I'll start off by saying, please seek support and help if these intrusive thoughts are ones that are extreme or put you at harm or the baby at harm. So please seek support. But I want to talk about the intrusive thoughts that I did not expect having now that baby's here. And I think there are a lot of reels on Instagram about this, kind of funny ones where you literally have thoughts throughout the day that are so crazy. And I did not have this before. I'll be walking Mab down the sidewalk and I will have an intrusive thought of the FedEx truck losing control, coming onto the sidewalk, running us over. I will be carrying him through the hallway, go into my bedroom and have an intrusive thought that I hit his head on the doorknob. I'll have an intrusive thought where I'm cutting an orange in the kitchen and he's playing in the living room. And I think will this knife fly across the room and get him? It's just crazy. So just know that it's normal. 1, 2, let them come in and let them leave. They're going to come in. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably a primal thing now that you are responsible for a life and there's kind of an anxiety of this is the first time I'm doing all of these things and what ifs and what ifs and what ifs. But as quick as they come in, they quickly leave. So try not to judge it. Try not to be too freaked out by it, and just let them leave. And just know that it gets better over time. I think in the beginning, they were coming in all the time. And it just felt so crazy. So crazy. I felt crazy. And over time, as I've witnessed myself just step more and more into motherhood and trust myself more and trust my child and just kind of like create this bond that reminds me every day, like, we're in this together. We got this. All is well. I do my best to keep you safe and, fed and protected and all the things. And that's all we can ask for, right? So just know that those thoughts are completely normal. And you got to let them pass. They will absolutely pass and it'll get better. Okay. We're plowing through. Last question that I'm going to share. What things you should ask your partner to change versus not? And when I got this one, I kind of laughed to myself because I thought back to when Sean and I were first dating. We've known each other for a long time, but when we were first dating in earnest back in 2019 and into 2020, because he moved in with me for a short period in 2020. Oh my gosh, the part of me that thinks she can change someone and make them better, she was on fire. So what happened was I wanted to basically change the way he ate. I wanted to change the way he slept. I wanted to change the way he talked to people. And what I realized was that those parts of him that triggered me, that agitated me, many of them, were parts of me that I wanted to be more of, or that I had yet to bring out and embody myself, or they were parts of me that I didn't like. So I had to get real reflective very fast because Sean was having none of it. He is not someone who, he's not going to change who he is. However, and I'll get to that in a moment, there are aspects of each of us in our relationship that we've wanted to change and wanted to work on because the other has shown us that maybe it's not our best and highest expression. But first, the things that you are not going to change, what I would say is in those moments, you got to check yourself and say, is this a part of me that I am judgmental about? Is this a part of me that I want to embody more of? Is this something that is triggering me because it triggered me when I was younger? And this is kind of drudging up other things. Have a reflective moment. Step out, take a pause, and be like, what is this really, this moment that's triggering me so much? When he's like, saying how he feels at a family party. And I'm used to like everyone just being like, people pleasing and just like keeping it kosher. And he's someone who really like expresses himself and says how he feels. And it would make me feel so uncomfortable. And I realized, oh my gosh, I don't do that. And I would love to do more of that. And I was annoyed that he was doing it. So you have to take that moment, reflect on, is this something that I want to embody more of? Is this something that, I judge about myself? And then you work from there. I've even brought that reflection into our relationship, into conversation. So you could say to your partner, like, listen, I was thinking about it. And you know how I always get so annoyed when, when you just tell it like it is, amongst our friends or when we're in a family situation, you just tell it like it is. You just are pretty blunt. And I get so annoyed. I was thinking about that. And I think the reason why I get so annoyed is because I never felt like I could be honest, like I could be blunt. And I see you do that. And I think it annoys me that I haven't done that or I can't do that. And it really offers up this vulnerability and this door opens in your relationship to new conversation, to understanding understanding each other more deeply. And it also provides accountability now in your partner where you're like, hold me accountable because I want to be a little bit more direct. I want to be a little more clear. I want to be more blunt. And they will help you and support you in being more of that, knowing that you're working on that. So step by step, we don't have to go all in tomorrow, but start with a reflection, bring the conversation into your relationship and go from there. For the things that you can change about your partner, there will always be things that a relationship will push us to work on. Relationships are beautiful portals for that, and will always be, especially your intimate relationships. So how I know is that I'm able to express myself to my partner about the thing that is bothering me, about them or about their behavior or about maybe an aspect of our dynamic. And I can tell from expressing myself and being in conversation with them whether this is something that they subconsciously or consciously know that they need to work on. I'm picking up on it, and it's something that, yeah, it's just like there's a lot of dissonance there. And then we can get into conversation around like, how can we like work on this together? How can I help you? How can, we just like be a team in this? And then there are some things that are truly them, and I think we can celebrate each other's differences in a relationship and swallow the frustration. And I'll give you an example. Lately, it's been my husband will like chew gum randomly. And I'm like, first of all, you're not a gum chewer. So what is this? So it's a new thing. I'm like, okay, fine. He'll have it like first thing in the morning because he's like, well, I don't brush my teeth first thing and I'll just put it in because like if you want to kiss me and like you complain about my breath. And I'm like, okay, fine. But the way he chews his gum, I'm like, okay. I look at him and I'm like, do I love this man? Yes. Is it worth it to freak out and just nag on him about how he's chewing his gum? No, it really isn't. Like, I want to love him harder than I want to ride him about him chewing his gum. So I really have had to woosah some things that just like really annoy me and look at that part of me and be like, girl, you can afford to chill a little bit on that. And over time, I practice this with this gum chewing thing, for example. And now I kind of look at him and I just laugh when he's chewing gum because I'm just like, this is hilarious. This man doesn't really chew gum, but now he's chewing gum. He thinks it's his breakfast gum, thinks it's going to help him with his breath in the morning for my benefit. This is hilarious. And I kind of diffuse the charge around it that I have. And it just becomes a little more light. And I think we can all afford in our romantic relationships to bring a little bit more light, a little bit more levity into those moments where we're like, oh, I'm going to kill you. Because usually it's just like a little something within us, right? So overall, in review, so much of this is self-reflection. So much of this is taking a pause and being like, wait, where is this coming from? What is this really? What is this telling me about me? And is this an opportunity to work on something together? Because if you say to your partner, you got to fix this, you, there's going to be resentment. There's going to be pushback. There's not going to be, the love's just not there. The love's just not there. So if we can say, hey, I've noticed I'm a little triggered by this, or I'm a little annoyed by this, and I'm trying to understand why. Just so you know, if I like side eye you when you're chewing gum, that's kind of what I'm working with. And honestly, what he started to do is like, he'll close his mouth when he chews the gum, or he'll be like, yeah, babe, I'm not going to put the gum in, just so you know. And like, you kind of like do this little dance where they understand your quirks and it becomes less of a charge, less of an internal, I'm going to lose my shit. So hopefully that was clear, but relationships take work, relationships take patience, relationships take self-reflection, and relationships take just courage to be in conversation about things that really matter and some things that seemingly don't matter but actually do and point to something bigger. So thanks for the question. I love y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Just always, I feel so supported in a weird internet world. I truly feel your hearts out there, and I think that's really rare, very rare. And the fact that I can come on here and talk about, my personal life and answer these questions just tells me that, like, yeah, you all hold it and you all are so respectful and wonderful, and I just love you. So thanks. All right. That's the solar for this month. Thank you for listening, y'all. You can learn more about Almost 30 at almost30.com. Follow me on Instagram at Lindsey Simsick. You can follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast. Follow Krista at It's Krista. And we just wrote a book. So look forward to that. 2025, it's coming out. We cannot wait to share it with you. And we might be going on a little book tour. So just know that that's happening. We love you. We'll see you on the next one.